Can I start now? Does anyone mind if I stand up here and talk for about 8 minutes? It's ridiculous, isn't it? Me asking for your permission? We all know that I meant to be here on this stage, sharing my idea, my story. I mean, you've even paid to be here. I'm Maisy Bentley. I'm not a leader. I'm not a top scholar. I don't have any sporting medals or revolutionary ideas. But I do have a story. My story begins in 2012 when I was rushed to the emergency department of the hospital. My hands and feet were cold and purple. My hair was falling out, nails brittle, low blood sugar, low blood pressure. I couldn't stand without fainting, and I was pretty close to death's door. I was admitted to the hospital and I was diagnosed with anorexia, depression, and anxiety. I was put on a heart monitor, a drip, fed through a tube, wheelchaired to and from the bathroom. And at only 14, this was a pretty scary situation to be in. I was so anxious that I was scared to go outside. I was so depressed that I didn't want to. So caught up in seeking permission. And the next 4 or so years were a very long and hard journey to recovery. But I'm not here to talk about those. I'm here to talk about when I was well enough to return to school. I was understandably quite far behind on my schoolwork. I was disconnected from social groups. And I was lost as to who I was and where I was going. But what I did know was that I was a leader. I valued education, and I wanted to be successful in whatever it was that I chose to do in life. So to make up for the time I had lost, I put in extra hours, took on extra assessments, did extra research. And I ended up achieving 2 years' worth of work in 1 year at a merit level. And looking back, that's quite a significant achievement. But maybe because of the difficulty people have with relating to the illness I'd suffered from, I didn't get recognised for my hard work or my academic ability. To build up my social presence, I joined extracurricular groups. Throughout my 3 years at school, I've been passionate about working with a group at my school that was meant to be led by prefects. The purpose of this group is to support students in their transition to and duration of college life. Not only in their academic and extracurricular achievements, but in their physical, social, and mental well-being. And after 2 years of working with this group, being the leader I thought I was, I stepped out and I put myself forward to be elected as the Wellbeing Prefect, a young person passionate and capable of taking this team to further success. But maybe as a result of only recently moving schools and still being the new girl, or because I didn't fit the mould of a traditional leader, I didn't get the prefect role. I didn't get a leadership position. And I'm sure you all know the feeling when you work really hard for something, you're really looking forward to something, and it doesn't go to plan, and your stomach drops and you feel a bit sick and your throat kind of closes up and you can't get any words out. That's how I was feeling. Still caught up in seeking permission. But then I realised I've already faced much worse things than this. By going back to school and getting my qualifications, I've already defied the odds from where I started. I've already stepped out of my comfort zone. So why am I not still walking? And it was then that I set out on a mission. And this mission was to simply do whatever I wanted. I applied to every conference, every opportunity, every group that related to my passions. And in the process of doing so, I came across an article. This article was about someone in my community who realised that their young daughter was taking food to school for her friends who didn't have any. Children who were going hungry. So this person called the school to find out what was going on. Why do these children not have food? And they were met by the confronting fact that on Mondays and Tuesdays, there is a lower attendance rate is parents struggle to make ends meet. They don't want to send their kids to school without food. So this person did something. They started making sandwiches and lunches for anyone who reached out. No questions asked. Anyone who was having a tough week, anyone who couldn't make ends meet, anyone who had had an unexpected financial burden. And I also, around the same time, came across an article about someone who had seen the same issue in their community. But this person in this article was not talking about what they'd done about it. They were talking about how businesses weren't supporting them. No one would sponsor them. And why didn't the government have funding for this already? And I was looking at these two articles side by side, and I was thinking about all the things that I've experienced and that I've learnt. And it was then that I realised that when you step up and do something, when you don't wait for permission, when you show a community that we can feed all of our children, then you emerge a force. Then you're unstoppable. So after all these years of waiting for permission, I got involved with this charity. And we've grown and grown, and now we make more than 1,500 lunches every single week of the school year for any underprivileged child in our community. We have parents and teachers telling us that their children are more present, more focused, and achieving higher because of what we do. Because we didn't wait for permission. Because I didn't wait until my teachers told me I was good enough to lead. Because I refused to follow the path that society had set out for me. And you, just because you don't get a prefect role or a promotion or something doesn't go to plan, you don't have to wait for approval from your teachers, your peers, or society. Because you know what? You're going to be waiting a long time. So I beg of you, if you see an issue, if you have a passion, stand up and do something about it, because the world needs you. So when you leave here today, remember that you're walking on your stage. You're telling your story, and you do not need to wait for permission. I'm Maisy Bentley. I am a leader. I have a story. I do not wait for permission. And just like all of you, I'm going to change the world.